such a time as this.
And welcome back to For Such a Time As This, the place where there is no such thing as a silent witness. I want to talk about the topic of pro-abortion pastors. Pro-abortion pastors. Let's set this up with text as usual. Genesis 4 is when God is speaking to Cain right after Cain slew Abel. He says this, and the Lord said, "What have you done? The voice of your brother's blood is crying to me from the ground. And now you are cursed from the ground, which has opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand." God is speaking to Cain right after he slays Abel. And look at what God says. He says, "The blood of your brother, it is crying out to me." And I will credit Dale Tackett with this. He did the Truth Project many years ago, and I saw this for the first time. And he says this. He says, if one man's blood is crying out from the earth, how does it sound in God's ear to hear 30 million babies crying out? 30 million babies. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, abortion is not up for discussion. And so now we have a person who calls himself a pastor is running for the Senate in the state of Georgia. He is running against Ms. Lafler, I think her name is. He's running against her, and she has a brilliant campaign ad against him for her when dealing with abortion. Look at this ad from Kelly Loeffler. Just watch.
Do you think it's consistent with God's view that God endorses the millions of abortions we've had in this country since Roe v. Wade?
I think that human agency and freedom is consistent with my view as a minister.
Let's play it again.
Do you think it's consistent with God's view that God endorses the millions of abortions we've had in this country since Roe v. Wade?
I think that human agency and freedom is consistent.
Human agency and freedom. Human agency and freedom. Using that logic, God should have had no problem with Cain slaying Abel. This is unbelievable to me. This is unbelievable. Someone can call themselves a pastor, and with that tortured logic, somehow justify abortion. There's one other verse that comes to mind very clearly when talking about this man who calls himself a pastor. Acts 20, Paul is speaking to the disciples. "I know that after my departure, fierce wolves will come in among you, not sparing the flock. And from among your own selves will arise men speaking twisted things to draw away the disciples after them." And that tortured logic, if that is not twisted things, if that's not just foolishness, justifying the taking of a baby's life, then I don't know what to tell you. That's twisted. That's twisted. And for a man to call, it's consistent with my view as a minister. I don't doubt you're a minister. The only question is, who are you a minister of?
For such a time as this.